Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about when they pull away, don't do this, right? So I talk about this quite a lot on my channel, but I definitely wanted to make a video completely surrounding this topic because I think it's so important because a lot of people make this kind of mistake when they're dating someone that they really, really like and then suddenly they start losing interest. And basically what comes into action usually is action, right? So when you're with someone that you really like and they start to display less interest in you than they were doing previously, what most people tend to do is they feel like they need to reach out more, contact them more, talk to them more, try to convince them why they should, continue to date them and things like that, right? So basically taking too much action when things start going a little bit sideways. And the reason why that's not a good thing to do is because that sort of thing rarely works, and it never makes the other person more attracted to you, right? It never makes them want you more. If you take action and start doing things when the person that you like starts losing interest, the best thing for you to do is to match and mirror what they're doing, right? So if they were, sending you loads of messages last week and now it's only every, couple of days, then that's what you got to do. You got to start doing what they're doing. And if they're only messaging you every couple of days, then you need to start messaging them every couple of days, right? So, what you want to do is you want to grab your phone and basically look at, the correspondence that you two have been having. And if you can tell that you're the one that's making the longer messages, who's doing the more frequent messages, then you need to back off and stop doing that a lot. You need to really cut down on what you're doing. So if they only send a message to you that's only a couple of sentences, then you do the same. You do the same length. If it takes them 4 hours to respond to you, then you take 4 hours to respond to them. And if you really want to make them more attracted to you, if they're still interested, right, is you want to double that. So let's say it takes them a day to get back in contact with you, right? It takes them a day to reply to your message. Then you take 2 days to reply to their message. Or it takes them, let's say, 3 hours to reply to your message. Then you take 6 hours. It's always about doing less than what they're doing, because the one that's doing more is the one that is pursuing, the one that is more interested. And if you feel like they're losing interest and you're more interested in them than they are in you, then you want to switch the tables. You want to turn the tables and get them to put in more of the effort. And the best way to do that is to kind of make it that way. And you do that by doing less than what they're doing, right? And that's how you make them more interested. Now, this obviously goes into, they have to actually be still interested in you. It could be the case that they have genuinely lost interest in you and there's not really much that you can do. So even if you did back off, basically what would happen is once you back off, they'll back off even more, and eventually, the whole thing will just fizzle out, right? But if they do still like you, if they are still somewhat attracted to you, then they will start reaching out to you. They will start putting in the effort, and they will start getting more attracted to you once they see that you're being strong and you're not pursuing them heavily anymore, right? And they're the one that's chasing you. That will make them feel more attracted to you if they're the one that's having to put in more of the effort, right? So it's only a little thing that you need to do. It's not, this is great because this means that you don't have to do much, right? So I know it can feel like, oh no, this is terrible. What if I lose them? A lot of people have that fear, but it's like, well, if they are gone, if they have genuinely lost interest in you, then there's not really much you can do anyway, right? There's not really much you can do. And, that's sometimes that's just how it is, right? If they've lost interest and they've decided within themselves that they're not going to come back and they're not going to continue dating you, there's not really much you can do. So, that's the best thing for you. If they've lost interest, then that's good because then you can go and find someone else. So don't worry too much if that happens. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, especially if you really like them. But you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you. That's not fun, right? Even if you do manage to get them out on another couple of dates, it's going to be boring because they're not actually going to really want to be there. It's not going to be fun. You're going to have to feel like you have to put in so much effort to get them to try and like you. And ultimately it's not going to work out anyway because they've already checked out. They've already, checked out in their own heads, in their own hearts. So, it's kind of a good thing when someone loses interest in you and they, kind of fade away out of your life, because you now know that this person wasn't the one for you, that this person wasn't someone who, is going to be good to date anyway. Because one of the biggest fears that people have when this kind of thing happens, when their spouse starts losing interest, or their girlfriend or boyfriend starts losing interest, or the person that they've only just started dating starts losing interest, is, oh, if I start matching and mirroring what they're doing, or I start doing less, perhaps they're just going to go, perhaps they're just going to fade away, perhaps I'm going to lose them if I start doing less. And if you lose them just because you've started to do less than what they are, then that person isn't no longer attracted to you. Because if they are still attracted to you and you're doing less than what they are to, engage in the relationship, whatever it may be, that's good, because now you know that this person isn't interested in you. Like, if they care about you, if they love you, they will start putting in the effort, and you have to trust that, right? But also, there is a case that you could actually lose them by backing off, because perhaps they have already lost interest, but that's a good thing for you, because now you can go and find someone who does actually care about you and does actually want to be with you, right? So you have to really take that to heart and realize that, hey, look, if this person actually likes me, then when I back off a little bit and start behaving like they are, start matching in a mirror what they're doing, if they like me, they're going to start putting in more of an effort. And if they don't, then that won't happen and the whole thing will just fade out. And you have to trust that. Right? And sometimes it can be hard to let go, especially if you really do like this person. But it's absolutely necessary that you do it, because going the other way isn't going to help the situation. By taking action and doing more, like messaging them more, reaching out to them more, trying to have a conversation more, it's just not going to help the situation. In fact, it may even make things more awkward. And it's going to ruin basically any chances, because if they are still attracted to you, but you keep on being needy and you keep on, basically trying to force things to happen by forcing conversations, by trying to, talk to them too much, and you're not matching a mirror what they're doing, then it could potentially ruin any attraction that's still there, because that might completely put them off you totally, right? So the best option that you have when this kind of thing happens, when they start pulling away, when they start losing interest in you, is to match and mirror their behavior. And if you feel things have really gone south, then you need to do double less than what they are. You need to basically, like I said earlier, like if they only message you every 2 days, then you message them every 4 days, right? So you really prolong it. And perhaps even, you want to, when you set up dates and times to hang out with them, you want to prolong that as well. Like, let's say you make a date with them 2 weeks in advance, so they've got all that time to anticipate it and think about it. You really want to kind of stretch it out if you want their feelings to start developing with you again. And basically what you want to be doing is you want to be going a little bit slower than they want it to be. So you got to take your time and be patient and be very slow with them, which is, counterintuitive to how a lot of people think and behave in dating, because a lot of people are all guns blazing, rushing in, trying to make things happen really quickly, trying to lock them down into a relationship. But really, you have to be really patient and slow, so that you can allow that person for their feelings to develop over time. Because if you feel like you're way more into them than they are in you, then you're the one that has to make the pace go much slower, because you have to control yourself. Because if you can't control yourself and you can't handle yourself and you're like, oh, I just got to reach out to them, you're ruining the attraction. You have to go at their pace, and perhaps even a little bit of a slower pace than what they're at, so they can really feel that attraction for you and really develop those feelings for you. So always having this idea like, I've got to go slower than what they are, or at least at their pace, at the very least at their pace, if you really can't help yourself. And you really got to develop this patience, and just allowing these things to develop slowly, so you can So you don't botch things, basically, especially if you feel like you are someone who is overly enthusiastic, who is a bit more guns blazing, wants to lock them down to a relationship straight away. And I completely understand that, because I've definitely been there myself. You know, you get really into someone, you want to be with them right now, you want to see them all the time, but you've only known them for basically 5 minutes, right? Now, obviously, that's probably an exaggeration. You've probably known them longer for that, but that's, you know, kind of like a bit of a metaphor, right? But you have to take things really slow. If you can tell that this person isn't there yet, if they're not in love with you yet, if they're not showing the same level of enthusiasm for you as you feel for them, you have to go slow. Now, it doesn't mean that they're never going to feel that. It doesn't mean that they're not going to fall in love with you. But what you have to understand is that people fall in love at different rates. You might be someone who, like me, who falls in love really fast and wants a relationship instantly. Yeah, but this person might be just seeing how things go with you. They might not be that interested just yet. They might be attracted to you, but they just have more of this attitude of, oh, I just want to see where things go. And you have to respect that, because if you're trying to force things to make things go faster than what they're ready for, they're going to lose attraction for you. And they're going to feel smothered, right? You have to allow them to start developing the same feelings that you have for them, basically. They have to start feeling that on their own. You can't force that. They have to feel it themselves. You have to just basically facilitate, hanging out, basically, and being together, and, creating dates and things like that. And, arranging those things, getting those things together, but also, paying close attention to how much effort they're putting in, and you just put in a little bit less, just a tiny bit less, or at least on the same level that they are. Just pay attention to that. And eventually, if they really like you, and they're still attracted to you, their feelings will grow and they will start falling in love with you. But you have to take things really, really slow, especially if they're not there yet. So that's my advice, basically, on what to do when they start pulling away, and especially never do these things when when they pull away from you. And that main thing is to become needy and start over pursuing too much. You have to match and mirror what they're doing if you have any hope or any chance of salvaging the connection that you two have. So that's my advice. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.